Today, I want to welcome you, Heather,
Hi.
and see how this goes as we discover what's going on and kind of discuss it together and see how using this model can help kind of sort it all out and hopefully bring some clarity for you and give you some ideas of what to do from now on, like what to do tomorrow. See how this works. Okay, so tell us just a little bit about what the circumstances, the thing that you're kind of struggling with or frustrated with, what's going on at home.
I have an 8-year-old little boy who likes to be in control. He doesn't like to do his chores. It's a battle to get him to do them every single day. He doesn't like to switch tasks. If I
Mhm.
try to gently remind him that, oh, okay, you have 2 minutes left, 1 minute, now we need to turn off the TV. And I'll say it nicely. And he just blows up and he'll throw himself on the couch and I don't want to. It's not fair. I don't ever get to do anything I want to do.
Yeah.
So, and it's TV, it's device, it's anything, bedtime.
So
And we do
basically,
it. Oh,
just anytime you're trying to give them a directive to change from one activity to the next. So it's a
yeah,
transition kind of thing.
yeah. We do have a sticker chart and it works fairly well.
Okay.
So
What do you
there
do?
are things to motivate him.
Okay. How does the sticker chart work? What do you do for that?
So he gets 10 stickers and he gets a prize. We need to revamp the prize box, but as of right now, he could play 20 minutes on a device on a game that he wants to play. It used to be that there were Kinder eggs in there. There were, he could watch a movie in the car. He could buy a game, play a game. There were little Hot Wheel cars in there. So that's been fairly successful. We've been doing that for at least a year now. So it's been pretty good. And sometimes the stickers work and sometimes no amount of stickers will get him to do anything.
Okay. And so how does he earn the sticker? What is exactly kind of the guideline that you have for him to earn a sticker?
There's nothing necessarily set in stone. If he like chores that he has to do don't earn stickers.
Okay.
But say like folding laundry on Saturday is a really hard one for him. I'll say, okay, I will give you 3 stickers if you fold your laundry and do not complain. He has yet to earn that. Or it's, hey, if you go through the brushing teeth and flossing process at night, you get a sticker. Um, I try to catch him doing things that on first time and say, oh, you did that? When I asked you, you get a sticker. So it's not every time, all the time, but I try to encourage him to get him to do the things that I would like him to do.
Right. So that's good. It's a praise reward based system. So,
Hmm.
okay. Very good. So let's think about if you can think back to one very specific experience, maybe from today or yesterday, something recent that's still kind of fresh in your mind, last week, doesn't matter, but something that's kind of fresh
Hmm.
that you can remember pretty well, the details of what happened, what did he say, what did he do, what was the kind of the situation.
Hmm. Well, today he's been pretty good. Yesterday he was pretty good too. It took him 3 hours on Saturday to fold laundry, like just to fold his basket of laundry.
Right.
And and it took that long because I wasn't pushing. I was saying, you can have a friend over when your laundry gets done. And he'd whine about it and he'd fold something, he'd fold one shirt in 10 minutes. I
Sounds like my
can't. Okay. I mean,
yeah.
that's okay. So I can't think of a specific example, but like the TV is the big one. It's to the point where I don't even want to let him watch TV. Like he'll be watching TV and I'm like, it's time to go to bed.
Mhm.
And he'll have the remotes and he'll hide them. No, I don't want to go to bed. It's not fair.
Okay, so let's start with that. So I like that. Not that I like that he did that, but but I like that that's very specific. So that's a quote that we can say
Mm-hmm.
that he said this, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
had to reconstruct this in the court of law, you could say this was exactly what he said, and you're not giving any
Mm-hmm.
sort of um, um, you're not making any sort of judgment about it. This is just plain fact. He said this. He said it's not fair because
Mm-hmm.
he didn't want to stop watching the TV. We could make all these assumptions about why he did it or what his motivation was. But just if we're going to put it in the cloud, we're putting bare bone fact. He said it's not fair to turn off the
Mm-hmm.
TV, right? So let's say that. Let's put that here in the cloud, and we're going to kind of work through this scenario and then see how it
Okay.
can be applied as a more general principle. So he says, so son says, it's not fair. And that was about turning off the TV, correct? And
Mm-hmm. It could be basically anything, though.
yeah. So
That's his favorite.
yes. So it's not fair, I know. And so that was for turning off the TV in this one particular situation. Okay. So he says it's not fair. And when we go back to thinking about our nervous system, so our whole nervous system, the main focus and point of the whole thing is to keep us alive. That's the whole point, right? So as parents, our nervous system, basic, the function is to keep us alive. For our children, it's to keep them alive. And so we're all operating at the very most basic level, just survival. And so when we do have any sort of response, then I like to say, well, let's think about it. If we're trying to survive, we're trying to keep ourselves safe or conserve energy or seek pleasure or have safety, whatever these basic survival needs are, we can just kind of step back for a moment and say, well, what is the danger? If we're getting upset, we're escalating, then our brain has kind of picked up on something that is signaling I'm not safe, or there's danger, a threat to my safety, or I need to be pleased, I need to have ease, I need to have,
Mm-hmm.
easy life. I want to sit on the couch and watch TV. That's just survival mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just having no work, no energy is being expended. Pure pleasure. It's all dopamine going on. This is just basic survival of the body. So for him, he's having this very comfortable experience. He's watching TV. It's just dopamine after dopamine hit because I'm just being entertained, right? There's no work, there's no energy that has to be expended. So for him, his nervous system, his state is just relaxed, chilled, not working. And so then when he has to switch out of that mode of, basically it's the equivalent to just reclining and being fed grapes while someone's fanning you with palm leaves, right? That's TV. That's
Mm-hmm.
just the most relaxed you can possibly be almost if you're awake. And so he's in that state. His nervous system is just on I'm on sleep mode almost. And they say when we're watching TV, it's
Mm-hmm.
almost the same as being in a hypnotic state. Your brain waves are so subdued when you're just watching TV. It's less than sleep. Our brain waves are more active when we're sleeping than when we're watching TV. We're just so zombie mode. And so when he sees when his body, and this is very subconscious, it's just very biological, his body is now being told to get up and do work and have to expend energy and lose the pleasure and lose the dopamine and all this basic survival that especially children are really keyed into, then he's losing his pleasure cycle of just relaxing, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so it's good for you and for me as parents to stop and think, well, what is the danger that their brain is signaling? Like, oh no, there's danger. What's the danger that's kind of elevating them into an angry state, the tantrum? That's when the nervous system is like hyper aroused. They have sensed danger, and now they're no longer thinking and reasoning. They're purely in that primal mode. So for you as his mom, when you take a moment to step into his shoes, what would you think his danger is or his threat that he's experiencing that he doesn't even know? This is like totally subconscious,
Mm-hmm.
just, very primal. This
Mm-hmm.
is very just at the very basic level.
Well, it's that the dopamine's getting taken away and it's never going to come back.
Right. And that's
It's
the
being
thing,
stolen.
very hyperbolic too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think especially when we do get into that kind of elevated state of like, danger, you're threatening my peace and my serenity and my ease and my no work and my all pleasure. And we get into that state and we just can't even reason as well. We're just thinking, wait, how do I get back to that? Or just because we can't reason and we can't think, but I could do this tomorrow. No big deal. I think
Mm-hmm.
as adults, we have matured, our brains have developed, our reasoning ability has developed and matured. So for us, and plus we have 40 years of experience that the sun rises again and the TV is still there and the programs are all there. We know we have that so ingrained because we've had that every
Mm-hmm.
day for 40 years, 40 plus, that it's not a big deal. Like we are much more able to reason and say, I can wait. I can do the rest of this show tomorrow. I can pause it. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
disappear from Netflix. It will still be there. But for children, this is very underdeveloped. And this is highly,
Yeah.
highly developed to survive and get what I want and take care of me. And so, so then they can't see that, well, I can get it tomorrow. They can't reason that as easily. Okay, so let's think a little bit more. What other kind of dangers might his kind of subconscious mind kind of picked up on?
Well, he could be catching up on the fact that, if I said it even remotely grouchy, oh no, mom, or I'm going to be punished, or we're going to have to do something that I don't want to do.
Right, right. So there's a lot of things that can be feeding into it. And so if he's thinking, oh no, mom's getting grouchy, he hears the voice, he hears the tone, or he thinks, or there you might verbally say, I'm not pleased with you right now. I'm not happy that you're making this an
Mm-hmm.
issue. And you're not going to get stickers. There's just some sort of thing that he might take as this is a threat. I'm going to lose my
Mm-hmm.
opportunity tomorrow. And then of course he's not reasoning. So then he just gets more hyperbolic. Now I'll never get another turn. Okay, my 8-year-old does that too. I think this is an 8-year-old thing that just very dramatic and just never ever again and always. And I hear that a lot too from my 8-year-old. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's just this very big dramatic experience. So when you think about, okay, well, you've asked him, it's time to turn off the TV, it's time for bed. No big deal to us. For him, he's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not fair because he's got that threat in his nervous system of, oh no, I'm losing my dopamine. I'm going to have to go do work, and brush my teeth is such hard work. And get
I
ready for
know.
it is such hard work. Especially as they're tired, then the more energy that whatever the next step is going to
Mm-hmm.
require, then the more daunting that can seem just because they're tired.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, but in this normal situation, just what happened for real this last time that you can think of, when he says it's not fair, and he starts to get upset. Like you said, he's hiding the remotes. He's making it hard to turn off the TV, which I've had that same scenario as well. You are not alone. And so, what do you think your response is if you go back and you really like review the tapes? What was kind of the thought that you have that you've had in that case or in other times? But in this particular instance, when he starts to have the tantrum and he says it's not fair, what do you think?
Mhm. Well, it's either you're going to listen to me because I'm the mother, or the whole it's not fair. This isn't fair. It makes me very angry because it's like, you have it so easy. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Right. So you think you have it so easy. And what's the comparison? So when you think that you have it so easy, what's the comparison?
Oh, start sitting him down and we say, you're right. It's not fair. It's not fair that mom has to work all day so that you can watch TV. It's not fair mom has to cook every day so you get to eat.
Yes.
It's not fair. And so, not surprising now that I think about it, it never gets into his frontal lobe. He's like, it's not fair. Like, you're right. Let's make it not fair. You should start working more.
I know.
No.
How about you get a full-time job and be
I know.
the Okay, so and you think that you have it so
Mhm.
easy. I think that too. And then what happens? You said you feel anger, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so when you feel that anger, where do you feel
Oh,
it?
it's right here.
Yeah,
It's
right.
just hot and ugh.
Right. It's very hot. Right. And then what do you think your expression is when you're angry and starting to
Oh,
feel?
I'm probably scowling.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kind of the angry furrows. Uh,
yes.
teeth are gritting. I'm
Yes.
not giving you braces, but that's what we're doing. All right. So when we think that you have it so easy, what do you think is underneath that? So I heard it a little bit already, but underneath that, there's another level down. I've been
Mhm.
working all day. How dare you complain
Mhm.
about stopping watching TV that you just got to do for a while when I haven't done it yet? I've been working, and you've just been hanging out, and I'm in the kitchen, and so there's
Mhm.
underneath that, there's other layers. You're not
Yep.
appreciating me and all my work.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a
That's
hot
what it
one
is.
right there. You don't appreciate what I've done for you to be able to have
Mhm.
your lounge time and relax after school. And I haven't gotten to do that yet. And you get
Yeah.
complaining, you know, this is all the mothers of the world, right? And we feel that anger. And so then when we're feeling angry, because we're thinking you have it so easy and you're not even appreciating all that I've done for you, then what's kind of the next thing that happens?
I'm more likely to yell or to be short-tempered
Yeah.
or to, be more likely to punish,
Okay.
to snap
Yeah,
and say, go to your room,
sure.
or start threatening.
Yeah. Okay. So normal because now you found a danger that has
Mhm.
set you up into an elevated state. And now your reasoning is going to start diminishing. You have a very good brain. I know you do. You're very smart. But this is just biology. This is
Yep.
just biology. This is just your body responding to a threat. What do you think your threat is that you perceive?
My my threat is, hmm, well, I do agree that, I don't feel appreciated. And then I'm mad that he's not listening and that my golly, that my status or power as mother, I need to be listened to. I deserve, I demand, I don't know,
Yeah.
that I need to be listened and obeyed.
Mhm. And we have that kind of program running, just like a computer program. I'm an
Mhm.
adult. Adults should be respected. I'm your parent. I'm your mom. I gave you
Mhm.
life. And I make
Yes.
all these sacrifices for you. We just have this program just running all the time, just kind of expectation.
Hmm.
Adult, as a parent, as the mom, I should be respected. I should be obeyed. You got to have your time to relax. This is just every day the sun goes down, we go to bed. The sun
Hmm.
comes up, we get up. It's just the facts of life, right? It should just be this easy cycle because the sun is doing
Hmm.
it. Why can't we?
I know.
It should be easy. So we have a lot of things I think that we don't even always realize, or we do, and we think it's justified. I'm an adult. I should be obeyed. That's just how the hierarchy should work.
Hmm.
And so then when that's kind of threatened, that hierarchy, that kind of parent-child relationship that should be there, they're not old enough. They're not able to reason and take care of themselves. We couldn't just put them in their own apartment at 8 years old. They have to have us. They would eat ice cream and watch movies, and that's all they would do. They wouldn't go to school. They wouldn't brush their teeth. They wouldn't change their underwear. Right?
Poor
So,
babe.
or bathe. They need us. They wouldn't wash their hands after using the bathroom. I know this until we teach them over and over. You come out of the bathroom. Did you wash your hands? Let me see your hands. Let me smell your hands. Go wash your hands. They just wouldn't do it. And so they're not
Hmm.
mature. They're not able to do that. They need us. They have to have us guiding them when it's bedtime. They just wouldn't care. They would keep watching movies. So now we have the situation where, yeah, you have this anger happening, the uprising, and you're not going to be as reasonable as you would be when you're calm. And so you do start to feel that short temperedness. You're issuing punishments, um, and so then what's the result? What's the climate like?
Everybody's, everybody's grouchy.
Every,
Everybody's mad.
yeah, everybody's upset. Oops. Okay, and how does it usually resolve? Because I'm assuming eventually he does go to bed. He does eventually fall asleep. He hasn't been awake for 3 days straight.
Oh, um, on bad nights, it's we're chasing him into his bedroom and, getting him into bed. And most getting to bed generally isn't a problem. But like with the TV, a lot of times I have to grab the remotes and I take them away from him and he, starts throwing fits and looking for things to throw and stomping and slamming doors.
Yeah.
Um,
And I like that a therapist said children don't throw tantrums. Tantrums throw children. Like they just take over.
Interesting.
The tantrum just takes over their whole body. That reasoning window has just shrunk to nothing, and they're just completely to the whim of the body. Whatever their body's going to think, going to just impulsively do, they're just completely reduced to just impulse. And I like that thought. Like they're not throwing a tantrum. The tantrum is throwing them. They are completely a puppet to whatever their nervous system figures out to do to express their unhappiness and their anger, and
Mhm.
it's not fairness. So that result, everyone is upset. There's just there's hurt feelings, there's contention, there's conflict. And so in order to change this, you really can kind of pick any spot in the cycle and work from there and fill out the whole thing. So if you want to change what's happening, you could start with, how do you want to feel when it's time to tell them to turn off the TV? Or what do you want the action to be? What kind of behavior do you want to happen for it to, what do you want to have? The result, what's the result that you want to have? Or what's the thought that you need to have? So where do you think you'd want to start if we're going to same old situation? But I mean, it sounds like you want this to be like easy.
That would be lovely.
I mean, wouldn't that be great?
And I know I can only control myself. And once you say the TV needs to go off,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to go off.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I guess I'm kind of thinking the same situation could fall out even if I'm not participating in the grouchiness. Like if I remain calm,
Okay.
and
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, if I remain calm, I mean, he could still, throw the fit and try to have the remotes. So, then what the next action is, I don't know.
And that's the thing. As you start to really investigate, and like right now, this is so helpful because you get to kind of step back and you'll become more creative.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to figure out solutions. They're inside of you already.
Well, here's to hoping.
For you are inside of you because they're your thoughts and your feelings. And the nice thing too about this, and I'll explain this little piece right here, is that like all that communication that's happening up and down the vagus nerve, the thoughts sending down signals, the body sending up signals, the amount of communication that's happening, 20% comes from the brain to the body, 80% goes from the body to the brain. So if you're needing to calm down, we can't always reason our way through it, but we can do things to physiologically calm our body. And then that sends a signal to the brain, I'm safe, I'm okay. So just different things like literally counting to 10. The big breath. And they call it the physiological sigh. When children have been crying and then they start to calm down, they do the that's actually named. It's called the physiological sigh. And when you do that, you're signaling to the brain to calm down, that I'm safe.
Really?
I'm okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so we can mimic that to train, to just like signal to the brain, calm down. I'm okay. So you and I can do that, and we can teach our children to do that even. They don't have to cry to get to that point, but we can train ourselves to go and do it actually through the nose is what they say is better. But that whole like in and then up again and then down, in again and down. And that actually is soothing. It is calming. And there's so many different ways to breathe. And I'd never understood breath work when I first heard of that. I was like, what's breath work? But actually, it is learning how to use different breathing techniques to calm the body, which then tells the brain, I'm okay. I'm okay. We don't need to be in danger mode anymore. The threat's over. Everything's okay. So we're talking about being calm. That's kind of the goal. Because yes, if you can stay calm, you're going to be right here. You're going to use thinking and reasoning. If you're calm, you can stay, You know, if you're the calm, you can meet his chaos and help him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's called co-regulation. You can help
Mm-hmm.
him to calm because you are calm. And it's not easy. It takes work. It takes learning and practice,
Yes.
right? But if you're going to be calm, even when he starts to get upset, and you can
Mm-hmm.
be calm, and you as the mother, you had all those years of experience with him, soothing him as a baby. What would you do now? Even though he's 8 years old, what are things that you could do that would be soothing and calming?
Goodness. I could tell him to breathe with me. And I have tried that. I don't know, like this situation, the TV has to go off. And I guess I need to, I don't know.
Yeah. What other,
I'm,
yeah. And I think you're onto something, because what other emotion could help you to see his upset state in a different way? Instead of thinking, you shouldn't be upset. You've just had all this chill time that I don't get. You're not appreciating me. So, what kind of thought do you think you would need to have when you see him getting upset? You stay calm. There's another emotion that I like to really focus on, and it's compassion.
mhm.
So, if
I
you
was
have,
going to go for curiosity, but compassion works too.
yeah, because if you're curious, then what are you going to say? What would your thought be if you're
My
curious?
thought would be, tell me more why you think this is not fair.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me more. And if you're calm and like genuinely curious and not curious with an underlying, like, I'm resenting you. So tell me all about it, but just like a genuine curiosity. Tell me why you're upset. Yeah. And I think that opens you up for compassion when you're
Mhm.
curious. You're not judgmental. It's easy to be angry when you're judgmental. But when
Mhm.
you have compassion and curiosity, then you're open to whatever answer they have, and you're going to acknowledge it and say, this is a legitimate feeling that you have right now. It's okay for you to be upset. I can get it. If I were 8 years old, I'd want to keep watching TV too. I can understand that. I'm gonna put that there too. So I like that you said that. If you said, I wonder, I wonder why. And it's that genuine curiosity. I wonder why. I wonder why you're upset. Tell me more about it. I mean, when you start to do that, what do you end up pushing someone away, or do you tend to kind of pull them in?
You pull them in and you sit next to them and you put your arm around them and you cuddle.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? That's how we end up bonding. We're supposed
Yeah.
to have conflict. If our children were robots and they always behaved, we wouldn't appreciate them. Over time, we would just not even, we wouldn't appreciate it. It's the
Yes.
times when you're like, oh, you did that without me asking? Whoa, throw a parade.
Mm-hmm.
But because they do have these big emotions, because their body is just responding to, I'm losing my easy life that I was just so much enjoying right now, because that's happening and we can see that, we turn on that curiosity and that compassion, then we just want to bring them in, and then we can bond.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that you
Mm-hmm.
curiosity and just asking, I wonder why he's feeling this way. I wonder what's going on underneath. Maybe he had a bad day at school and he's trying to just block it out. Maybe he was tired. Maybe somebody wasn't kind. And when you
Mm-hmm.
do that, when you open up the conversation and allow him to speak, that gives him a sense of safety. So right then,
Mm-hmm.
already triggering for him, helping him trigger in his own body, I'm safe. I'm accepted even when I have big feelings, even when I act out, even when the tantrum throws me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can help him to feel safe, he'll come back down. His reasoning will start to wake up again, because literally the blood flow is changing when we get really upset. The blood flow,
Mm-hmm.
it goes down to the limbs because it's that fight or flight. Like literally, the blood flow is changing to be ready for action because we're just very primitive when we're in that state. And so the thinking part of the brain has decreased blood flow. It's literally sleeping. And so when he can be calmed and reassured, it's okay, I understand. I wouldn't want to turn the TV off either. What can I do for you? Why does this feel hard for you? Can you tell me about it? And you bring him in and he's welcomed, he's accepted. It's going to, do that whole signal for his body,
Mm-hmm.
that up to his brain. I'm okay. I'm okay. So let's breathe together. I like that a lot. And yeah, let's keep going. I had another thought, but let's keep going. So let's breathe together. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Tell me about it. Okay. And then as you're doing this with him, what do you think the result could be?
It would be more calm. It would be, well, 50-50 is still the TV. There still might be a fight over it.
Yeah.
But hopefully, he doesn't feel like I'm his enemy.
Oh, yes. Isn't that great? I love that. I'm not his enemy. And he can believe that. Okay. Okay. And the nice thing is that when you're able to establish this, then the next time it's time to turn off the TV, it's going to be less of a trigger for both of you
Mm-hmm.
because you've proved to him you love him. He's allowed to talk. He's allowed to express he's unhappy. He feels it's not fair. Well, let's find out why. And you're willing to let him speak. Um, the therapist that I love, I always forget to write her name down, but she goes by Attachment Nerd. She's one of my favorites. And so she was talking about how to calm a child. And when you take the approach of yelling to try to calm a child to get their obedience, you're not actually calming them. They are shutting down. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. And I think that's really important to understand. It's not the same thing. You can get a child to calm down and comply, but they're complying, but they're not actually calm. They're just kind of shutting down. And so if you want a child to be genuinely calm, they need to have experienced that connection with their adult figures in their lives. They need to feel that compassion. They need to feel that presence, that other person is in my life, and this is a good thing. And they feel supported. So they're upset, and instead of telling them they shouldn't be, you say, "Oh, I understand. I would be upset too." You're supporting them. So like if you go to work and you're upset about something and you're maybe even crying about it, and someone says, "You shouldn't feel that way," that's not supporting you, right? You shouldn't feel
Yeah.
that way. And we do that to our kids sometimes. You shouldn't feel that way. You should just be happy that you got to watch TV. You should just be fine that we went to the park. It should be okay to leave the party, you know? And when we actually support them and we think about how we would want someone to support us when we're unhappy with changing a transition from one thing to the other thing, well, how do we expect an adult to treat us? Well, let's do that for our kids. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
understand. I know. So another thing that I want to offer you is that when he is calm, when it's not the middle of this dynamic, but some other time, totally different time, he's calm, you're calm. Maybe you've had a good laugh together, read a book together so that you're both just in a good flow. And then you say something like, wow, what's a plan that we could come up with when it's time to turn off the TV? Because isn't it so fun to watch TV? We love it so much, but we do have to turn it off. We can't watch all the time. We would never eat.
Mm-hmm.
We would never go to the bathroom if all we did was watch this. All we did, we would die. So we have to have a balance. What do you think would be? And just ask him, like, what do you think would be a good way to handle that when it's time to turn it off? What do you think? What would help you to feel okay with turning off the TV?
Mm-hmm.
And find out. I have no idea. That's in his answers are in his head. I don't know them. And you'll know them when you ask, And so then you can come up with a plan together. And the more that he's involved with the plan, the more he feels empowered, he feels respected, and he feels that responsibility for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 8. 8's a pretty good age to start really taking responsibility for himself, to a degree. We're not going to expect him to go out the door and get himself to school somehow, right? You have to help him do stuff. But that's a beginning. I think 8 years old is a really good time when they do start to have that sense. It's just part of their brain development. Like they're just really getting to a point where they can take more responsibility and it feels good. And they start to feel proud of themselves. So when he's in that good flow and you've had some good bonding time, you've had some time to connect and feel good, that's when you can say, yeah, what do you think our plan should be? And just keep it very upbeat and very, no drama. Like just, oh, what do you think? Like Willy Wonka. Oh, tell me more. And then come up with the plan and say, okay, well, what should we do? So when it's a time where it's feeling harder for you to turn off the TV, what could I do to help you? What would help you? Would it be better if we just didn't watch TV except for just on Saturday? If we turn it on Monday and it's going to be a big deal, or could it not be a big deal? What do you think would make it work? So that it's not a big deal. Because I know for me with teenagers, and maybe you've had this experience with yours, but I would blame the phone. I'm like, the phone, that's why they're not connecting. That's why they're not getting good grades, or that's why this is happening or that's happening. But the phone is just in the cloud. The TV is in the cloud. It's just a thing. It's just there. We give it meaning. We make it a trigger. We make it something we fight over, And so if we get back down to, well, what's the underlying skill that needs to be worked on? And make a plan together. 8-year-olds are great. It's so much easier with 8-year-olds than teenagers, right?
Yes.
Because they do. And especially we're like, oh, tell me, you're amazing. I love your ideas. What do you think would help you? And really put more into his hands. And then when it's time to watch TV and you're giving him permission, then say, before you even start, you say, oh, remember our plan? So when it's time to turn it off, how are you going to behave? So you have, while we're still in the calm, we're not attached, watching and getting disconnected and frustrated before it's even on. Okay, let's talk about it. How are we going to be? And then give that little 5-minute warning, like, oh, we've got 5 minutes left. In 5 minutes, how are you going to be? How are you going to act when it's time to turn it off? Okay, let's see it. I'm excited, and then time to turn it off, and then can turn it off. Look, you did such a good job. Yay, high five, hugs, kisses, throw a parade. And that can really help to prepare for it so that it has already happened. The decisions have already been made before it's the hot moment. Time to turn it off. But having that preparation, and you've already kind of made a deal, made a plan, like, oh, okay, And just so you know, if you do throw a fit, what's going to happen? Then we can't turn it on for 2 more days, or we have to wait till Saturday. We can't do it on a school night. But if you can show me that you can be mature about it, great. I don't have a problem with it. You know, it wouldn't be a big deal if there was no big deal.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think a lot of it is like, I think you found a lot of what your dangers are when there is a conflict like this. You're just normal. Like every mom feels this way. You should appreciate all that I do. You don't even know. You know how easy you have it. You need to go like experience some other country and find out how hard it is for those kids. We think that like, they don't have any comparison. So of course they're going to feel this way. They're 8. They don't have any, they've never had to milk cows at 5 a.m. They just haven't.
Nope.
And I don't want a cow. I don't want to do that. I like going to the store and buying it.
I know. Or chickens. I don't want chickens either.
Yeah. Does that feel better for you?
It does. It reminded me of, I've got to work on me, and talking about what his brain would be going through was I'm like, oh yeah, because he doesn't have a frontal lobe really. And it reminded me that I've got to invest more now if I want easier tomorrows.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here going, it's amazing that my daughter turned out okay.
I know.
Like, how did she? She's functioning. I was a terrible mother.
She got through high school. She made it.
I know. I don't know how she did it, but so yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I guess we can, kids are like pancakes. The first couple are a little wonky.
But at the same time, look, she's a functioning young adult. You're a good mother. You did it. You did it.
Well, and the job's not done yet, so no, I can keep trying.
But you did. You got her to this big milestone, right? She's able to move on and take on more responsibility. And, it's amazing. And I find it a miracle too. I'm like, wow, okay. My kids they're out in the world and they're doing things, and okay, because I can look back and see all my mistakes. Yes. But then we have to also give ourselves credit and see all that we did do. We provided a home for them. We provided food. We provided love. We provided guidance. And, if we only look at the mistakes we made, it's so unfair to ourselves. We have to be willing to also give ourselves credit. You worked super hard for her. You work super hard for your son. You do. You are a warrior mother. Like all that you do. You really do.
Well, thank you.
Give yourself that credit because you deserve it. You earned it every day. And so I think sometimes we're getting into our own heads of, I'm not a good mom. Well, then how am I going to show up in all of this? So if you help yourself and give yourself that credit, say, man, I have worked so hard for my kids for 18 years. Look at all I've done in 18 years. How many meals have I given? How many diapers did I change? How many baths? Yeah. You deserve that credit. This is hard work. And you're still in it. You're still doing it. You're still doing it. Yeah. So if you put in here, when it's time to brush teeth, do the same thing. You know what would happen if we never brushed our teeth?
We have done this.
Never did. Yeah. And you do that while you're in that calm state, So what do you think? Son, what do you think would make brushing your teeth fun even? Do you think it could be fun? What could we do to make it fun? Let's do a little dance. Let's sing a song all the way to the bathroom. let's make this fun. And I think the more that we make things fun, the less of a threat it is, the less danger we feel.
That's true.
You know, like, hey, dopamine, let's make it a party. You know, let's do a little cha-cha all the way to the bathroom, and do some planning and talk about it when it's that neutral time. Yeah, what do you think what would make it fun for you? Do you want a new toothbrush? You want to go pick one out? What color do you want? Do you want a different toothpaste? That tastes funny. Do you want a different one? Get 3 different kinds and let's do a little party. Like, ooh, that one tastes pretty good. Like a taste testing. So
that would be fun.
Do it all kinds. I mean, the more that you want it to be good and calm, the more you want that, the more creative you'll get. And the more fun you'll be. The more awesome mom you are. And you're enjoying it because you're bonding with your child instead of fighting.
That is true.
That's why creativity is such a great tool to really tap into. And I think also, we think about agency and free will. Agency is creativity. When we are using our will on our own, we're being creative. We're thinking of creative solutions. We're thinking of how to do this and how to make this happen and how to fix this problem. And we're acting for ourselves. We are being creative. And our children need to be creative. They need their will, their agency to be activated as well. They need to be creative problem solvers. And the more we do that, we give them the opportunity to be creative problem solvers. They're using their agency. They're using their free will. And it feels good. We're meant to. It's in our nature. All right. Well, Heather, thank you so much. It's been so fun to talk with you.
It has been. Thank you.
And I just think you're a wonderful mom and you're doing the best you can. And now here's some new tools that you can try and be even more awesome. And
That's the goal.
More fun and more harmony, working together and have a good flow. And because I know you're a genius, you're going to figure it all out.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
One day, when it's all over, the day before, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. But even a little thing along the way, you'll see, like, that's creativity. It's like being the scientist in the lab. Oh, what's going to happen here? Let me pour this in. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this. Today it worked. Tomorrow it won't. But maybe 3 days from now it will. Maybe with kids, you just never know. It's worse when they're 2 and it's just like all they want is bananas, and then you give them bananas and they don't want bananas anymore.
I know, golly.
But yes, so try these out. See how they go. And let me know. Let me know how it goes.
Okay. I will do that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Heather.